Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Zawarka and welcome to Premier Photography Academy. Today I want to demonstrate the impact of single point focus on your depth of field. When using a manual mode and you set up your ISO to the lowest possible, in this case 100 ISO, and I'm going to set up my aperture to 1.4. By moving the focus point, as you can see, it creates a different depth of field. So the same thing applies before you take pictures of your subject. Make sure your single point is pointed at that subject that you want to take. It makes a big difference because I can go back, open wide and close, and it changes the atmosphere and it changes the look of that focus point and the focus area. Very important when you're trying to highlight or isolate your subject and blur the background. This is a good way to really practice. So before we start taking pictures, this is a really good way to understand the relationship between a single point focus and the depth of field, and we have a wide open aperture. So let's get going and start taking some pictures right now and show you even better explanation. Welcome back. All right, in this case, I'm going to set up my ISO at 100, my aperture f-stop at 8. I want to show you the relationship, how going from f8 to a wide open aperture can change the background. Looking at those outlets, they're still defined, but by opening up my aperture, they're going to become more and more blurry. But in the meantime, as I open my aperture, more light is going to start to flow into my lens. At this point, I just need to balance my triangle between ISO 100, f 1.8. I just need to work on my shutter speed and close it or make it faster so I can control the amount of light that's coming to the lens. This is called motion blur technique, used a lot in photography, where you're able to use the same focal point on your subject and be able to blur the background. In this case, you can use it for, like I said, a single portrait with the blurry background. Could be some green, some trees. It's absolutely magnificent if you start practicing on this one. So what I will say, go ahead and give it some try. Let me know what you think, but this is an outstanding technique in taking portraits. Okay, I went ahead and took a few images here to compare the two settings. And to my left, you've got a 1.4 f-stop, and to my right is f8.0. Both images are taken at ISO 100, and both images have the same single point focus for their subject. In this case, the up front is the subject that we're focusing on. Notice to my left, you've got a much blurry background at a 1/80th of a second shutter speed. And to my right, you've got a bit defined background where you can still see those outlets and that door. So not very sharp because it is an aperture 8.8. I use usually this aperture for landscape where I want to capture a little bit of the background. To my left, I use that settings when it comes to portraits, very much a well-known settings, a very professional look where you focus and isolate your subject, where you still have some of that background not defined. It gives that feel of blurriness and you've got the motion in it. But sometimes it really part of that design is a beautiful portrait. Another picture here where I was able to group everybody. Let's say you're taking a family picture. Both images have the same focal point, that is the center, which is your hyper focal point. And I can define this in another video. You may want to look in the channel, a very important skill to learn. So notice both images are set up. To my right, you've got f11, a little bit more defined background. And to my left, 1.4. In this case, that's the lowest I can go with the lens, the 50mm that I'm using. Some lenses go all the way down to 1.2. You've got even a much more blurry background. Another point here, if you look to the right, f11, all subjects, in this case, the family members, are defined. They're a little bit sharper every one of them gets some definition. So it's much better sharpened image all over. To my left, the most sharpened pixels are going to be in the center, and it starts to lose some of those pixels when you go around outside of that center. So again, another skill. So if I'm taking a picture of a large group and everybody wants to be sharp and look good, absolutely go for the f11, f8, and that gives you a much better sharpness all over. But if I want to isolate, all I focus for or on is the subject. Anyone else is not really important at that point. Is definitely the settings to my left. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was very helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and please subscribe to our channels. It helps the community, and we again thank you for watching, and have a great day.